If the questions are there itself and the answers are there in the passage, a good paper setter is never going to ask you to memorize any details. Moving forward, time to tame the reading comprehensions. So how to tame it? Rule number one, in your CAT, your entire reading comprehension is segregated in a difference of two. If I have to make a line in between. On the left hand side, you're going to see questions, and on the right hand side, you're going to see some answers. At the same time, if you are giving CMAT exam, there were some formatting issues in which the entire reading comprehension was given as one big line. It may happen in your CAT also, but at the same time, or in your CMAT for that matter as such. But if that happens, make sure that you don't get petrified with the same thing, because it's happening for most of the students. Even if the formatting is good, bad or ugly, you need to do that. Rule number one, read the first question asked. Without jumping onto the entire passage, read on the first question whichever is asked in your exam. Don't read the alternative. At the same time, read the passage with the ease. You should be easily going through the passage and trying to understand and getting engaged. Do not make a hurry. If you are hurrying too much, you're going to slow down itself. You need to repeat the same reading comprehension again and again. For a critical reasoning comprehension, for a critical reasoning question, I may advise you that you can definitely reread everything. But for an RC, which is nearly a system concern of critical reasoning, I would not suggest you to hurry up on the reading comprehension question and reading up again and again. Again, coming to the same point, get engaged. Understand most of the passage. At the same time, do not remember. Get the crux of the passage. If you look at the recent last year's CAT questions in entire reading comprehensions, where a small passage was followed by 3 to 4 questions, always there was a question about getting the crux. Hey, author is asking you, hey, what do you think about the main idea of the passage? Hey, what do you think about the summary of the passage? What do you think about which can be the conclusion of the passage? For that matter, what is the title of the passage? So I'm going to give you a quick thought here. For example, if somebody asks you a question on title of the passage, if this is your entire passage, some titles are definitely confusing. Of the entire 4 options, say it's number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Option number 1 and 2 are definitely out of context. If I have to represent it, I'm going to say OOC here. These are definitely out of context. So look for these first 2 options which are definitely out of context, and always look for option number 3 and option number 4. Now the problem here is option number 3 and option number 4, which are very close, is going to take, say option number 3 is going to represent 1/3 of the entire passage, and option number 4 is going to take care of the rest 2/3 of the passage. If you're able to get this diagram pretty well, what I'm trying to explain here is the crux of the passage, or the main idea of the passage, is going to be the one which talks about the 2/3 of the entire thing, not the option which is talking about the 1/3. So definitely I call it 2:4 policy, in which 2 options are always out of context when it comes to such reading comprehensions. Moving forward, how much time you should take. I get this pretty often from all my students. So for the short passages, because in CAT there are 2 kinds of reading comprehensions asked. One is the short passage and one is the long passage. For the short passage, you should be able to give about 2.5 minutes for the reading and 3 minutes for answering the 3 questions. And for the long passage, 3.5 minutes of reading and 4 minutes of answering the questions. If I have to quickly tell you the summary of the entire process, do not haste. At the same time, all your questions should be asked less than 2 minutes. I'm not giving you a 2-minute policy here, because there would be some information-based questions. If you have a time limit of 2 minutes, you're definitely going to spend and waste these 2 minutes. So I'm giving you a point of, always think about if you're able to finish a reading comprehension RC in less than 2 minutes. If by chance you're crossing the 2 minutes mark, you should move forward. For example, if you have a 4-question RC, you should be able to spend about less than 8 minutes always. If it's a 3-question RC, you should be able to spend always less than 6 minutes. So always mark my words on this, and at the same time, convince yourself that this timing is perfect. Try again. This is a King's rule of always typing, always spending less than 2 minutes per questions. When we come to the CET practice, when we come to the NMAT practice, I'll tell you a half time rule in which you'll be able to solve the questions as less time as you're spending on CAT RC. So it means 4 questions you should be able to solve in 4 minutes. So it's a different ball game altogether. But we are focusing on CAT here and other competitive exams like even GRE and GMAT, where less than 2 minutes should be your entire thought process here. Alright, so ignore the beauty of my slide here. I know it looks pretty clumsy and cluttered, but what I'm trying to pull here is I have clicked some of the pictures from our CAT reading comprehension books of CET King. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you a magic here, and there's a text written there which talks about engage yourself, and shorten. So I'll talk about what shorten is, and prediction. So let me pick up one of the reading comprehensions here from our book. Which let me pull everything in the side here, and let me start with this. All right, so this is one of the reading comprehension in one of our books from actual CAT. If I'm not wrong, this is CAT 2009 reading comprehension. Let's look at this. All right, so what are the buzzwords here? Okay, India and Indians. I do think. I fear in India. I come from an Indian minority. I don't share. Alright, so here the author is talking about his own thought process in which he's trying to tell you like what's on his mind. So let's quickly look what the other reading comprehensions have to say. So I'm going to park it for a while where author talks about India, author talks about his own thoughts. Alright, so next one here. This is a little hazy, but it talks about the bow and the arrow with the metaphors, if you can read with me. Some Chinese writing he talks about, and US troop in Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnam is a beautiful place if you have been there. The Japanese and the World War, okay, the exception proves the cultural differences, etc. So he's trying to talk here about Japan, China, and how it's helping, how the things are moving in that. He talks about Vietnam, he talks about American war, etc. So they're small. Oh, this small one looks pretty cute. Let me pull this up. So it talks about passage 2. Hey, it talks about again China. It talks about again opium war trade during the Chongqing restoration. It looks like my 8th standard history book RC for sure. But yeah, the point here is he talks about the Chinese, the French Revolution, the Chongqing restoration, and this one of the traditional method of selecting officials was. So let's look at this question for a minute. The traditional method for selecting the official was, is it A, B, C, D? We don't know the answer. We are not solving questions right now. We're just understanding the fact. So here it again talks about China and the very different things. Alright, so this was again China, and this was again this was Japan, Vietnam again. So I'm going to differentiate what kind of. Let's look at one of the passage number 4. I want to stress this personal helplessness. Okay, author is talking about his personal experience. By the end of the century, Adam Smith. Okay, let's move forward. Many serious thinkers, etc., etc., etc. The 18th flesh and blood machines. Alright, but is author talking about his own thoughts? Maybe yes, because he talks about I want to stress. So it means author is stressing his own thoughts. So I'm going to put in this back bracket. Let me pull another one. Okay. Oh, this is a funny one. I'm going to bring at the end. Alright, let's look at this one. When I was in Colombia struggling with the esoterica du jour, alright, he talks about his own experiences. He talks about Colombia. He talks about Colombia again. People are born into middle class to the parents in corporate America. Picasso, Mozart, French socialist, etc. Alright, so this again comes into the same category of the topics which are outside India. So what I'm trying to say here is author is loving the comprehension where he's given his own thoughts. CAT loves those reading comprehensions. CAT loves those passages in which the thought process of the author is important. It means giving away you couple of marks here, because whenever somebody is giving away his own thoughts, it means the tone of the reading comprehension is reflective. even if he is critical in his own thought process, but reflections means when an author is thinking about his past. Who is the hero here? The author himself is the hero here. So there's a difference between narration and reflection. Getting a little off the points of what kind of reading comprehensions come in CAT. At the same time, I'm giving you again most important topics: reflection and narration. The tone of the reading comprehension is reflective or narrative. So narration is nothing but a story. There was Mahatma Gandhi, he was born in XYZ, he was born in Gujarat, and yada yada yada. Whereas as the reflection means the author himself is hero in the entire process. The author is talking about his own atmosphere. The author is thinking about his own ex-girlfriend. The author is thinking about his own ex-wife, etc. And he's the hero in that. Alright, so always look for the passages which you're reading in the newspapers in which the author is using I, we as the same word and trying to give his perspective. These are one of the most important CAT RCs. And the second one here is where author is talking about the different countries altogether, like India, China, or if I have to say it loud, all the globalization stuff author loves. So globalization and also a little bit of psychology. I'll explain you a little bit of psychology so that your active reading comes into picture. But before that, let's look at this the cute one. So this passage, let me bring all these stuff here. Okay. Yeah. One of the great leaders, Infosys, CEOs of the company. Alright. Murthy believes in the betterment. Murthy, he's talking about Narayan Murthy here. The ACT beacon of the learning organization, following Murthy's example. Alright, so this is a reading comprehension from CAT 1997. Narayan Murthy is the CEO of which company? Was the CEO of which company? Oh, you got it right. Infosys. What do you think? This time in CAT, can there be a question from Infosys? 3, 2, 1. Okay, no, there's not going to be any question from Infosys or any corporates like Infosys or Wipro for that matter, because paper setter is the TCS guys. So this is just my thought, just for fun. But at the same time, I'm just showing you one of the important reading comprehension on Infosys. There have been a couple of times in which similar reading comprehension has been repeated in other things as well. Alright, so I'm going to keep my junk as small sheets and notes here, and my writing also here, and let me collate this. Okay, this goes here. Again, coming back, engaging. Guys, you need to know as much as you can to get more engaged in your reading comprehension. Shorten the big things written. For example, if there's a passage on oligosaccharides or oligopoly, so you need not write oligosaccharides again, which is a bio terminology. You can always say Ollie, hey Ollie. Whenever you're reading a comprehension with shortening the terms, it's going to help you in the entire process. So you can use this. Understand